the CEO of Grabango. Great to have you here, Will. Let's get back to what we asked you earlier. Tell our viewers how you guys work.
It's great to be here. Yeah, so lines are a thing that nobody likes. I personally hate lines. They're a waste of everyone's time, and Grabango is working to eliminate them, to make it easier for people to go into a store, gather what you want, collect your items, and then just leave. That's the goal of the business and of the technology.
And so how is your technology different from that of Amazon?
You know, at the highest level, it's very similar. Both us and Amazon are trying to do very similar things, which is to say expedite the exit experience, the thing that nobody likes. Amazon is building new stores at small scale, convenience store size operations. They've got a dozen of them or so. We're doing something pretty different. We're building technology for everybody else to use. So the stores where you already shop today, whether it's a grocery store or a convenience store, you should get that technology as well. And so we're designed to be as inclusive as possible. So if you want to pay with a smartphone, you want to pay with cash, you want to pay with Apple Pay or SNAP benefits, however you want to pay, wherever you want to shop, we want to meet you there. So we're not opening new stores. We're empowering stores that already exist, that people have already chosen.
Will, you had just said you're making a lineless store for consumers out there. Would that, in theory, mean no cashiers would be at these stores as well?
No, definitely not. So shoppers get to decide. So the shopper that wants to bypass the cashier may do it, but many of us prefer to interact human to human. So for example, if I want to pay cash, or I want to write a personal check, or I just want to have some personal contact with the cashier, I can do that too. And Grabango supports both modes and lets our users choose which they prefer. So the cashiers are not being eliminated. They're no longer required to barcode scan every single item, so their time is saved. We're respecting their time and using it to interact with people, not to interact with barcode scanners.
Okay, and so on the fintech side, how are you processing all of these payments?
The payments get processed through the point of sale system. So point of sale systems are complicated rules engines around what's the discount, what's the benefit, what are the pricing, what are the coupons. We're not doing any of that. We're just keeping track of what's in people's shopping cart and pumping the information into the point of sale system to do the pricing and the transaction portion of the event, of the shopping event.
Will, Amazon has made the argument that these Go stores help actually the employees be able to communicate better with the customers, help them with all the issues that they might have, and so on and so forth, that it makes for a more seamless customer experience. Is that kind of the same thing that you've noticed as well?
Yeah, I strongly agree. I think over the last 20 years, computers have permeated our lives. We're constantly staring at screens at home, at work. We've got screens in our pockets. We look at them when we're on the train. We spend our life talking to computers. And one example of that is when you go to the grocery store, there's a person who takes every item you buy and shows it to a computer in the form of a barcode scanner. And I'd like to eliminate that. I'd like the experience of going shopping to be a human-to-human personal transaction, interaction, where the people are talking to the people, not focused on computers instead. I think society has gotten overly computerized, and I think that's the nature of advancement in technology, and I think we should use the computers to make our lives better, not to separate us from each other.
Increasingly, we've watched cities, starting with Philadelphia and moving into even New York here, put regulations around cashless stores particularly, and say that you need to be able to accept cash. How much does that actually influence some of the decision making that you are going through at your business at Grabango, and can these both live in tandem ultimately?
We strongly support that. We think people should be able to use cash or credit or any payment they want. I think the idea of building a store that doesn't accept cash is tantamount to saying a portion of society isn't welcome here. And we're fundamentally inclusive of all forms of payment and therefore of all people. And so anyone who wants to have access to food using whatever payment method they want is welcome in a Grabango empowered store. So we strongly support the movement to preserve cash as a way to buy goods and services.
Will, you have a great history when it comes to tech companies. We know you as the co-founder of Pandora as well. What lessons did you learn at your time at Pandora that you're kind of applying to this particular situation with Grabango?
You know, it's a great question. Two things that I learned really strongly at Pandora. One is that all people are different. So your musical taste and my musical taste are different. I may like your music, I may not like your music, but what's important is that I like my music, and I want Pandora to give me what I like, and Pandora should give you what you like. Whether they're the same or different kind of doesn't matter. And that underpins our idea behind Grabango that I was just talking about, that we should be inclusive. We should serve all people independent of their taste in food, independent of their taste in payment method. The other thing I learned at Grabango is Grabango on the inside is a very complicated system. There's a lot of mathematics and musicology and technology inside making Pandora work, but the interface is simple. It's a search box and a play button. Grabango the same. There's a lot of high-tech machinery that makes Grabango work. The algorithms are incredibly sophisticated, cutting-edge, state-of-the-art computer vision technology. But the surface, the interface at which people interact with Grabango is very lightweight, very human, and not particularly technical. And that's a thing I learned at Pandora, did at Pandora, and I'm doing again here, which is bringing high tech to all of us in a way that's easy for us to use, again, to remove computers from society. They're still there, they're still working for us, but they're in service of a more human experience.
Was it easier to be in the music streaming business or into the transactions business, if you will?
You know, they're both big business. They're both business that touches everybody. You know, all three of us listen to music, all three of us eat food, all three of us go shopping. And so I like to work in technology because I'm kind of a nerd at heart, but I like to build things, I like to build teams, and then the teams build the things that affect people's lives. So I prefer businesses where you have an impact on everybody, not just one or two folks.
All right, really cool stuff. Will Glazer, the CEO of Grabango. Great to have you here, Will. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed the conversation.
Absolutely.